I had a libido. Like, let me tell you. I had a libido, you guys. Like, I would just be thinking about it. I'd be like, something needs, even if you're a virgin, you just feel like something needs to be down there. All right, before I start telling y'all all my business, I thought I would share with you one of my favorite recipes that I'm drinking nowadays. I have really been into raw cow's milk. We get it from our local farm. We get it every single week. We're part of a herd share, so I really love that. I have been drinking it for about 4 or 5 months now. Noticed a little bit of weight gain, so I'm getting a little bit more strategic in measuring it out. So I'm just having 1 cup of the raw cow's milk, and like I said, it's been so great for my gut health, and just, I haven't gotten sick. More on that in another video. But I'm also adding in some collagen peptides, which collagen is amazing for the skin, the hair, the nails. And if you clicked on this video, also joint support, especially if you're someone who is in perimenopause or menopause. And then I'm also adding in 1 teaspoon of maca powder. Now, again, if you clicked on this video, maybe you have a low libido. This is one of my little tidbits that could potentially help you. It helps me feel a little bit better with libido. It's a natural boost of energy. It can help balance hormones, and it can also support your mood a little bit. And then I'm also adding in shatavari. I think that's how you say it, shatavari. I learned about shatavari from this Indian man. I used to go to his shop all the time when I lived in LA, and he sold me all kinds of foods and stuff. And he also got me into some of the Ayurvedic herbs. And so shatavari is really helpful in supporting women's reproductive health and just overall hormonal balance. So I add a teaspoon of that every day too in this drink. And then I add a little splash of vanilla extract just for flavor. And I also add in some fresh ground cinnamon just because it's the holidays and it just, I don't know, cinnamon's so good. It has a lot of health benefits too, like stabilizing blood sugar and boosting metabolism, but I'm just putting the cinnamon in there just for flavor. So I just like to shake this up, and then I add in also my fresh colostrum, which I told you guys about in the last video where you spend the morning with me. I tell you all about our colostrum that we get from our local farm. So I'll add in 2 cubes of those, and all this milk too has really great probiotics. And then I just like to shake it up, and then I pour it in a glass and I just enjoy it. And I have it too after my workout. Instead of having all those protein powdered drinks, this is a really great source of protein. So this is one of my current favorite drinks. So enjoy. Let me know if you make it. Cheers. I got my raw milk. What are you drinking? Raw milk? Maybe you have some tea or some coffee. I'm just gonna sip on my raw milk. I just got home, took a shower. I went to the gym this morning. It was leg day. I think I'm gonna skip tomorrow and just do a really nice long walk. I thought I'd talk to you about my hormones today and what this journey has been like. For one, I will say that being on this journey as a 36-year-old, my birthday was just the day before yesterday, so now 36. Being on this journey with hormones is very lonely because it's really hard to find your people on YouTube when it comes to HRT. I have sort of just attached myself to the Hot and Flashy community. There's a woman's YouTube page called Hot and Flashy, and she basically talks about menopause. And a lot of the comments, when I'm looking for women who have gone through what I've gone through, a lot of those comments are women in their 60s, 50s, women who are going through menopause at the natural age that they should. It's been really hard for me to sort of figure out the best protocol, being that my journey started when I was 27. So when I had my bone marrow transplant, they took me into this little room and they basically told me all of the side effects that were going to happen when I would have the bone marrow transplant. They told me that I could get graft versus host disease. They told me that my fertility was at risk. They told me that I would get mouth sores, but I don't really think that... Oh.
Hi, darling.
Hi.
Lois Ann from the Mennonites ground her own wheat.
Oh, she did?
And uses sourdough. I don't know how old it is.
Yeah.
But I wanted you to try hers.
Oh, I will.
Yeah, I thought maybe it smells good, and she just gave me a loaf.
She did?
Yeah, and I thought, I want to make sure Sierra tries hers.
Oh my
I don't know what you could put.
She made sandwich bread.
Yeah.
Wow. It's really good.
Yeah.
I'm going to cut it up and toast it at lunch and put some ghee and honey.
Yeah.
It's so good.
I know. Well, yours is delicious. I love that one you gave me yesterday.
Oh, I'm so happy.
It's my favorite. But that.
Thank you for sharing it with me.
I thought you might want to try hers. She uses sourdough.
I can taste the sourdough.
And she grinds her own.
She did.
Yeah, she ground her own wheat.
Yes. What kind? What did she tell you?
She didn't tell me, and all the kids were everywhere. She had 6 kids, and she just looks like she was already tired.
Oh, that was so sweet of her, though.
Wasn't that sweet? That was so sweet.
Thank you for sharing the loaf with me.
Yeah, God bless you. If you need more, you let me know.
I will.
Okay.
Love you. Okay, that was my neighbor. I forgot my train of thought. But now you guys know my einkorn sourdough that I just made in the last einkorn video is good. So my neighbor just shared this sourdough bread with me, which is so sweet. I love that I have neighbors that we always share food with, and they're the kind of neighbors we can get eggs from and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, I don't feel like rewatching this video back. So let's just start where we were. So anyway, as I was saying, when they took me into that little room, they talked to me about all of the side effects that could potentially happen with the transplant. And although they said, okay, your fertility is at risk, if you look at some other videos, I say, like, I didn't really take that into consideration. I just kind of had the mindset that, okay, like, they say my fertility is at risk, but I was like, whatever, everything always works out for me, so no big deal, like, I'll still get pregnant. I did look into freezing my eggs, didn't have the money to do so, so I just kind of was like, all right, like, I'm just gonna go ahead with the transplant and everything will be fine. So I just felt like they really did me a disservice in not talking to me about my hormone health. I felt like it was more so, hey, you may not be able to have babies, but I think that when you're in your 20s, I don't know if you feel this way, but I feel like when you're in your 20s, you don't really understand ovulation and luteal phase and follicular phase and the role that estrogen plays in your heart, in your bone density, in your mood. You don't really know that it is monumental to your overall well-being. At least for me, I had no idea the role that estrogen played in my life. I did not know. So when they said, like, oh, it's just your fertility at risk, I didn't realize that it was also my mood at risk, my sanity at risk, my joint, my bones at risk. I did not really realize that. So I, of course, signed on the dotted line. I had no idea what the chemotherapy was going to do when I went through it. When I went through chemotherapy, I remember being in the hospital, and I remember I did not get my period. And so it wasn't, and I should back up a little bit in case you're new here. I'm Sierra. Hi, I'm just jumping right into it. And I had a bone marrow transplant when I was 26, going on 27, which was almost a decade ago. So they cured me of sickle cell type SS with a allogenic bone marrow transplant. And so as I'm getting the chemo and everything, you know, it's expected not to get a period because they're dumping all kinds of chemotherapy into your body and you're on narcotics. And at the time, they made every patient take an antidepressant while they were in the hospital. So I was on an antidepressant because it is very shocking. Like, they can tell you what to expect in terms of your hair falling out and I feel like I don't really feel like they can tell you what to expect. I mean, you don't really know what it is until you know what it is. It's like, wow, this is the kind of pain I haven't felt. I mean, granted, I had a lot of pain with sickle cell, but it was hard. You're not prepared to see your nails turn black, and the mouth sores and the bone pain and the excessive hunger from being on steroids. I mean, I remember I would eat so much to the point where I was in physical pain, but the steroids would just tell my brain to keep eating.
I'm not gonna call anybody.
What'd you do? Oh my. Are you gonna help me or
Yes,
not?
I'm gonna help you, Sierra. Sierra's overeating too much food.
I didn't eat too much food. I had a croissant and lettuce and tomato. That's all I had, and chicken. It's not a lot of food, Mom.
Sierra, if your stomach is stretching, sweetheart. This is from overeating. It's from that prednisone.
I didn't overeat though.
Sierra, so yes.
I didn't overeat.
Okay.
Can you turn that off, please?
I'm sorry, honey.
Oh, no, you're not sorry.
Yes, I am.
You're not sorry. I think you wanted to prove your point.
Sierra, I don't like seeing you suffer like this. I don't like it. It grieves me.
I just wanted some dinner, that's all. That's all I wanted was
We're gonna
dinner.
have to modify it, honey. We're gonna have to modify. Your stomach is working real good, but we cannot just overdo it. We can't. And I'm gonna help you. I'm gonna help you. I'm sorry.
I want to eat before it gets cold.
This is the breakfast. Sierra's breakfast.
could you please?
Saturday. Yeah. Uh-huh. Sierra, there is no barbecue sauce over here, sweetheart. Okay? Now you have been dipping that barbecue sauce in everything.
Because I like it. Why don't you understand?
Okay,
I
but you
like
have put mayonnaise on your bacon, chicken.
I like mayonnaise.
Okay.
Push the button.
What do you
I'm gonna
want?
ask Teresa if they have
Okay, Sierra. Now what you gonna do? Just keep putting it off eating this little sandwich until what?
Stop. Just push the button and ask Teresa.
I pushed it, Sierra.
Get that out of my face, please.
And
Hey, do you guys have any barbecue sauce by any chance?
No, we don't. I'm sorry. You have to go downstairs.
okay.
Really? None?
Okay, that's how it is. So Sierra, let's just do your sandwich because you've already had a hash brown and
You have none?
vegetarian sausage. No, she said they don't, Sierra.
Well, can you help me do me a favor?
What?
Do we have didn't Sherry put those lemons back in the refrigerator?
Yes,
Can
Sierra.
I have lemons, please?
Yes, Sierra. You can have the lemon.
Mom, stop.
Stop what,
You're
Sierra?
being annoying.
Okay. Praise the Lord.
I already don't feel
Here's the
very well.
lemon, Sierra.
Could you just please go put this in the microwave? You know I like it steeping hot.
Okay, Sierra. Is there anything else?
Next time ask for fresh and lemon.
This is Sierra been, what day did she say you came in? July 26th? July 26th, and it's August the 8th. This is her second admission to the hospital after her transplant, and this is day number 87. 87, so we got 13 more days before we make 100, and I believe we're going to try to have some little cake and ice cream at the house when we make day 100. Right, Sierra?
Can you get that out of my face?
Sierra, be nice. Say good morning.
I'm going to. Good morning, Mom. Could you please
Say good morning to everybody.
Good morning, everybody. Could you please go get me some barbecue sauce?
Oh, no.
Please.
No. Sierra,
It's
really?
getting cold.
It has mayonnaise on
I don't
it.
care. I like the taste of smoked barbecue.
And
Please.
mayonnaise.
I don't really like mayonnaise.
You put the mayonnaise on
I
there
know,
already.
but I only did it because it's changing, okay? I needed some moisture.
Okay.
I don't even know where the barbecue sis went. There was barbecue here yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
And she ordered 4, and now there's only none.
Mm-hmm.
Where is the barbecue sauce?
So I would just keep eating and eating and eating to the point where I was sick. It's really hard. So that was in 2015 that I had the transplant. I was in the hospital for almost a year because I had a lot of complications. I did end up getting graft versus host disease in my stomach, and it was just a very long road. So several months after my transplant, I remember not being able to sleep. I remember having insomnia, and I think that the doctor at the time had given me some sleeping pills. And up until my transplant, I had not really been sexually active. I mean, I had done a little thing here or there, but I wasn't really sexually active. So my mom was of the generation, you don't need to go to the gynecologist unless you're having sex, which I don't agree with that, but okay. So I hadn't been to the gynecologist. So after the transplant, they sent me to the gynecologist and they ran some labs and they were like, yeah, you need to be on this stuff called hormone therapy. I don't even think I knew what it was. If I recall, all I know is that they said, oh, you're low on estrogen. We're going to give you these pills and it's going to help you feel better. I did not realize that I was being diagnosed with something and that I was going to need to be in treatment for the rest of my adult life until I reached the actual age of menopause. So I remember they gave me pills because I started off on HRT. If you don't know what HRT is, it's hormone replacement therapy. I started off on pills. I think it was estradiol, a very low dose, and also a drug called medroxyprogesterone. And I remember I was just delusional because when I got on the drug, I want to say a month later, I had this really heavy period. And me being full of drama, I think I was at home and my mom was in an acting class or something like that. And I remember I went to go see my mom and I was crying and I was like, oh my gosh, Mom, my period's back. Everything is fine. I'm going to be able to have children. Like, this is amazing. I had no idea that it was just the medicine inducing a fake period.
Sierra,
I started my period.
you did what?
I started my period.
Hallelujah. How long has it been? You started your period? Let's see. Pull it down.
I did.
How beautiful.
It's
What
just
happened?
a little.
It's just because you got spots? What happened?
I've been cramping for a couple days.
Okay. And what else? Sweetheart. Oh, how wonderful. God is so good. Hallelujah.
I thought that it was my real period that was back, and I thought that I was going to be fertile. And I remember me and my mom were just like recording this video. Maybe I can try to find the video and put it here. We were recording this video and we're like, yes, like God is good. I'm gonna have children. It worked out for me. So I ended up continuing on the pills, and I don't remember at what point they took me off the pills and put me on a patch. And yeah, I was fine. I don't feel like I was having anxiety during this time. I think that I did actually have a few panic attacks, come to think of it, back then, but who knows if that was from the hormones or just the stress of everything that I had gone through. I mean, I went through hell during that transplant. I was really just kind of delusional. While I was going through that, I decided to start acupuncture. I always believed in, Eastern medicine? Eastern medicine. And so I started going to acupuncture, and I remember the first acupuncturist that I went to was a white guy. And when I went to his office, he said to me, yeah, you really need to have some red meat. And he also told me you should try this porridge. It was some kind of porridge he told me to make. And in my mind, I was like, this guy is stupid. He's white and he's not even of the motherland. I'm sorry, I know that sounds kind of bad, but I was like, he's not even of the motherland. He's just this white guy practicing acupuncture here in Los Angeles. He doesn't know what he's talking about. I mean, doesn't he know that everyone says we should not be eating meat? Like, I am mostly plant-based. I don't drink milk. I would say I haven't had milk since I was on my mother's breast. I only eat, fruits and veggies and occasionally meat. And I remember him just telling me like, yeah, you really need red meat. And I was like, yeah, I'm not coming back. I think I went for one more session to him and I never went back. I was like, I'm going to go find somebody who's of like Asian descent. And maybe that sounds bad. I have a girlfriend who hates when I say that, but I'm sorry. I just rather get acupuncture from somebody that is their culture. Culturally, like that's where they come from. Their mom did it, their grandma, their aunts, their uncles, like it's in their DNA. Like they know just how to do it in their sleep. That's what I preferred. And that's what I started going to. But that man was right. He was right that I desperately probably needed red meat more than anything because I had had this transplant. My body was still healing. I was having crazy joint pain.
I got the video going.
After the transplant from the excessive steroids, I was in so much pain all the time. And to be honest, I was probably very malnourished. I was. And so I stopped going to him. I think I might have had a steak once or something like that. I didn't even realize, and I'm getting into this year, I didn't even realize that back then my blood calcium levels were so high. Your body is taking calcium from your bones because you're deficient in calcium. So my blood calcium levels were extremely high, and no one caught that until this year of me being 36 years old. Well, I was 35, but now 36. So cheers to more raw milk. So my blood calcium levels were really high. I didn't even know what that was then. No one caught it. And the doctor's telling me I need red meat. So, and then I should say, shortly after this is all happening, I get into a relationship. I lost my virginity. And I would say, I should preface this by saying before my bone marrow transplant, although I was not very sexually active, I had a libido. Like, let me tell you. We got to keep this interesting, right? So I had a libido, you guys. Like, I would just be thinking about it. I'd be like, something needs, even if you're a virgin, you just feel like something needs to be down there. You're like, something needs to be in there. And so I was actually talking to my girlfriend this week, and we were just talking about libido health. And she was like, yeah, girl. She's like, I remember when I was in my 20s, she's like, I wanted anything down there. Just like even a doorknob was like, put this doorknob. Because you're just like, you need something. And she was so open with me. And she was like, yeah, one time I was driving and she's like, I had to pull over because I had to get my fingers down there. And I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, oh my God, I have to be honest with you. I said, okay. I told her, I said, I had a toy. And I told her, I was like, I took the toy to work. And one day in the middle of the day, I was just like so horny and so craving sex that I used my toy at work in the back room. And it was just the most candid conversation I have ever had. And so I have to say, before I had this transplant, I had a libido. Like, it was there. And I didn't even know to appreciate that, like, oh, I'm sexually driven. And I kind of hate that about our culture a little bit, that, you know, obviously you don't want your kids to have sex and you want them to wait and be abstinent and be with the right person. And we can get into the spirituality of it and all of that. But I really do feel that having a healthy sexual appetite at an age when you're getting your period and all of that, like that means that your body is healthy, you know, like we are made to have babies. We are made to want to mate. And I think we get so caught up in society on career and all these things, but that's, in a lot of other cultures, okay, we're not going to go into that. But needless to say, I had a very healthy libido. So about a year and a half after my transplant, I started, you know, getting back out there, and I wasn't looking for anything. My mom signed me up for an acting class, and while I was in this acting class, we had an assignment where we had to go stand out on the street, and I ended up meeting my first boyfriend. And yeah, I ended up having sexual relations with him. During those sexual experiences, you know, I did notice that it was like, oh, like, you know, it was just different from my appetite from before. And the thing was, I never had sex before my transplant. So I can't really compare. I had sex with myself. so yeah. So I was on HRT. So I was on HRT during this time. So that could have also helped a little bit with libido, but I didn't really put two and two together. I wasn't like, I am horny, I'm not horny. I wasn't really putting that together. That was in 2015, 2016. Fast forward to a year, I met my husband, and it was like all hell broke loose on me in the year of 2022. I remember that I had been praying. I think I told you guys in my last video when I was talking about the stages of infertility, how I started doing affirmations and listening to myself describe the life that I wanted to live. And in that affirmation track, I was very detailed about wanting to have babies, and I'm having babies with my own body. And I remember I was going to church and people were praying for me. And I just really believed that God was going to heal me. I'll never forget, my mom was like, I want you to go to church with me. And my mom went to a prophetic church. I don't know if you guys believe in that or not, but my mom went to this prophetic church, and this pastor was on stage, and he was like, there's a woman here and she's dealing with issues with her cycle or something. And we're like, my non-spiritual brain is like, no shit, Sherlock, like there's 1,000 people here. I'm sure there are one or two women here dealing with hormonal issues or cyclical issues with their cycle. So he says, oh, there's a woman. My mom was like, get up, like it's you. And I was like, no. And so he prayed, and I was like, I received the prayer. I just kind of listened to what he was saying, and I received the prayer, and I was like, all right, I'm healed. So I remember the next day, and prior to going to this sermon, a couple of days prior to that, I remember that I had this long breakthrough period that had lasted for like 10 days or something. So I went to the gynecologist and I asked her, hey, I need you to check my hormones. So that was on like Thursday. I went to church on Sunday. And then I get a call from my gynecologist on, I think it was Monday or Tuesday. She's asking me all these probing questions. And I'm like, what's going on? And she says, it looks like your ovaries are healed. It looks like your ovaries are working on their own and you don't need HRT anymore. And I was like, I was taking a nap and I was like, what? Erica. Oh, I shouldn't say her name. There's a million Ericas. I was like, Erica, what? She's like, yeah, it looks like you're healed. And I was just like, what? I was just at church yesterday and he said it. And I'm like, God, you did it? Like, really, you did it? It's been I said to her, I was like, Erica, it's been 7 years. And she's like, yeah, it get off your medicine. And she's like, I would highly suggest that if you don't want to get pregnant, you should be being careful because your ovaries are working. And I'm thinking, I'm going through the numbers and I'm like, oh, this is the year of completion. Like God did it. He did it in year 7. And me and my mom were just like so happy. And then I sent the voice note to D and he was like, babe, that's amazing. So she told me to get off the HRT right away. I got off of the hormone replacement therapy. I want you guys to check again. Like, let's just make sure. So they check again and they call me back and they're like, yeah, looks like your ovaries are working just fine. Like, stay off of the HRT. And I'm like, okay, all right. Like, my body's just getting used to it. Like, my body's just reacclimating. It's doing its thing. It's like, okay, girl, we still just working it out for you. I was having the worst anxiety. I was sweating profusely. I was just in a very dark place. And I just kind of was like, well, the doctor says that it's getting better, so I'm just gonna stick this out. I'm gonna stick it out. Again, I'm sweating all over the place, having really bad anxiety, brain fog, just cannot get myself together. I was just in the dark. I was so in the dark. And because I felt like I was drowning underwater. Like, if there's anybody who's ever had depression, I felt like I was drowning, like literally drowning. That's how I was. I was upset every single day, just struggling. And so I just remember being like, is this my life? And it's so scary because in my mind, I was like, no, like God healed me. Like, I don't need hormone replacement therapy anymore. God healed me. So by December, we're from August to December now, I'm going to acupuncture like twice a week, and she was able to remedy some of the anxiety for me. But by December, I went back to the hospital and I was like, I need you to check the labs. And they checked the labs and they call me and they're like, Sierra, we're so sorry. You are 100% in full menopause. You're fully there. They were like, you're so there. They said, we don't even really detect any estrogen in your body. We're not really detecting any estrogen in your body. And I was like, okay. So in my mind, I was like, well, my body has been detoxing from this patch for, I don't know, almost 6 months. What is it? Like 5 months. So I was like, I'm just going to stay off of it and see if acupuncture will get my ovaries going, because maybe my ovaries are not working because I'm on this medication, but I need to stop the medication. And then of course I upped my green juice. I was green juice every single day, still no milk, still no red meat, really no real sustenance, no eggs, just all greens, celery juice, oregano, kale salads, a little bit of chicken here and there. So really, like, not even really giving my body any real nutrition, just going veggies and thinking like, oh yeah, like veggies are the way, the truth, and the light. And I was so dark. It was just so dark. It was so miserable. It was awful. So I kept going to acupuncture till maybe February or March. And finally, me and D talked, and he was like, babe, you're sweating all over the place. You're miserable all the time. He's like, I want to support you, and I want to give you the comfort that you need, and I want to be supportive for whatever you want to do. But he was like, but your quality of life, though. Your quality of life. And I was like, yeah. So I found a new provider, and she was like, I don't know why that provider ever told you that your ovaries were healed. She says, I believe that the medicine was just doing what it was supposed to be doing, and I think she miscalled it. So she told me also, I don't know why she had you on medroxyprogesterone all these years. She's like, medroxyprogesterone is known to cause breast cancer. And she's like, you need to be on bioidentical hormone therapy. So she signed off on the patch. She's like, yeah, the patch that she has you on is great, but I would highly suggest a bioidentical progesterone. So I got on the progesterone, and my life started to get a little bit better. but still having really, really bad anxiety. And so Dee and I moved here almost a year ago, and to the year, I started getting really bad heart palpitations, so many heart palpitations. I've been to the cardiologist. I ended up meeting a woman on Instagram, and she introduced me to the work of Dr. Ray Peat, and he does not believe in estrogen. The girl was telling me, you're at risk for a stroke, you're at risk for all kinds of things, a blood clot if you stay on estrogen. So once again, I got off of estrogen over the last several months, and it's just been very hard to understand if I should be on hormone replacement therapy. So our fertility specialist has told me you need to be on it. There is not a single provider that has ever told me that it would be okay for me not to be on HRT. Yesterday, I found a new provider, and she told me, I told her, I was like, look, when I'm on the patch and when I'm taking the progesterone, which is now the bioidentical form is prometrium, I told her I get night terrors. I feel at night, I'm dreading night, and I'm afraid to go to sleep, and I just feel anxious. And even my Apple Watch says that I'm not going into deep sleep. And it's so interesting because ChatGPT says, oh, the night terror is tied to not having enough deep sleep. So then I told ChatGPT that I was on estradiol, which it already knows, and it says, yes, estradiol is tied to being a stimulant in the brain, and that may be why you're not getting deep sleep. So I took myself off the patch, and over the last couple of days, my sleep has been getting deeper after being off of the patch. My sleep was around 30 minutes of deep sleep, and now it was last night almost an hour, which is really good. And so it's been very hard to figure out what the right choice is. The doctor told me yesterday that women who do not take the HRT will be fine, and then all of a sudden they start having cholesterol problems or heart problems. And so she says it serves as a protective. And, you know, I also want to say, you know, during the time that I was off of the hormone therapy for like that 6 to 8 months, you know, I had all of the side effects: anxiety, depression, vaginal dryness, brain fog, literally just walking around, really just not clear, just in a haze, tearfulness, just an array of side effects, okay? And I feel that because I got off the patch and I've been on a more animal-based diet, the symptoms are not as bad at all when I'm not on the patch. But I worry for my long-term health. I mean, I don't know who to believe. I don't know what to believe. I don't know if I should take it, if I should not take it. And it's just been an incredibly hard journey. And it's so hard being, you know, 36 years old, and you're going through things that women in their 50s and 60s are going through. I feel like that's why sometimes I connect to older women, because I know what they're talking about. You know, the weight gain and sugar, how sugar affects you. And so it's been really challenging. So anyway, yesterday I talked to a new provider, and she told me that we should start at 0.5 and start anew. And I get worried because I tell my husband, I'm like, if this is how I'm reacting on the patch with the night terrors and not really sleeping very well, what is it going to be like when the doctors, when we try other fertility options at the fertility office and I have to be pumped with more estradiol? And so it's been really difficult. And so any of you girls who are dealing with the hormone stuff, my heart goes out to you. I know how hard it is. And I feel like before you are to go into chemotherapy, you should think about these things. For me, you know, I'm so grateful that my bone marrow transplant cured me of sickle cell disease, but what I've had to go through and endure hormonally hormones are huge. They play just such an intricate part to your overall well-being. And I would highly just consider this. To some of you girls who may have gotten this diagnosis, premature ovarian failure, I will say that I do feel that being on an animal-based diet right out of the bat after my bone marrow transplant would have allowed my body to really heal more. And so if you're someone who is trying to get pregnant, you've been diagnosed with something, premature ovarian failure or infertility for no reason, I would really look into your diet, making sure you're having enough vitamin D, enough calcium, enough red meat to support your body, to support your blood, the blood circulation. I think I will do another video, because this video has gotten a little bit long, on the things that have helped me with my libido through the last several years. As you guys saw when I was preparing this drink, I put maca powder in it. I always put maca powder, and maca powder sort of makes you feel a little like a little zhuzhy, a little zhuzhy down there, And I always put, the collagen for my skin, my hair, my nails. So I want to be a resource, and I really want you guys to tell me what's working for you, like what is helping you, because it's scary. You're like, I told my husband, I don't know. It's damn if you do, damn if you don't with this patch. So I don't know. That's my story. It was kind of a tangent. I feel like there was really no great resolve, but that's my story. And cheers. You guys, please let me know how you're handling the premature ovarian stuff. And I feel like before you guys do that, I do feel like I should probably follow another video really quickly to show you all the things I'm already taking. I'm taking ovaries and uterus. It's literally cow, like ovaries and uterus. I'm taking Progest E, which is a natural form of progesterone, which can have a really nice calming effect, which it is very helpful. But I'll do another video. But I will say, coming off the hormone therapy, all the months, I've been on and off of hormone therapy now for 6 months now in 2024. And all the times I've gotten off of the estrogen therapy, my husband is like, you are nothing the way you were when you got off of it back in 2022. He's like, you're nothing like it. I wholeheartedly believe that the cow's milk, the colostrum, the red meat, the beef heart, the beef liver, the eggs have really helped me, because when I get off of the hormone therapy now, it's really just some heart palpitations. I actually want to say, when I went on the carnivore diet completely, I have to tell you guys, I had a couple of hot flashes. I felt really good. I was not having the anxiety that I was having back in 2022. Just a couple of hot flashes. I was not having the brain fog that I was having. I feel like there is a correlation. I feel like there is. The doctor told me yesterday, it doesn't matter. She said, it doesn't matter how good you eat. You still need the estradiol. But I'm like, but I'm not really having the symptoms. The only downside was when I got off the HRT, my libido was shot again. And sex was just... my libido was just like it plummeted. It's tough. If you also have been diagnosed with premature ovarian failure, I will say that even though I have only been able to find older women who deal with it, there are Facebook groups. So get on the Facebook groups, because those are actually really helpful. Ever since I deleted my social media, I will say I do miss seeing the things that the women are suggesting and things like that. Anyway, if you've taken HRT, please tell me your experience. How is it going for you? What are your thoughts? Help a sister out. All right. Cheers, and I'll see you guys in a little. All right. I'm patching up.